Shalom, everybody. So, lesson 5, we're talking about the definite article and conjunctions, but as always, we shall start with a review of the last lesson, which this time is nouns. So, nouns can either be male or female. Well, masculine or feminine. And if there's a singular masculine noun, there's nothing special added to it. But if there's a single feminine noun, it will end in a or a. If we dualize a masculine noun, it will end in aim. And same for feminine, unless it ends in a. In its first thing a, then it will become afaim. If we pluralize a masculine noun, it will become im. If we pluralize, it will end in im. And if we pluralize a feminine noun, it will remove its feminine ending and end in oath. So, next thing to say, some nouns can switch between genders, like say any animal, because there are male and female animals. Same with ish and isha. Anyway, then there's segolate nouns, which are 2-syllable words with stress on the first syllable. The vowel points do not matter, but they do usually have segols, so that's why they're called that. And the first, when they are pluralized, the first vowel will get replaced with a schwa, and the second one will get replaced with a patach. And syllable stress will go to the plural suffix. And if it starts with a guttural instead of a vocal schwa, we will get a reduced patach. And syllable stress is always on the plural suffix no matter what. So yeah, that's all the review of last time. Let's get into it. So, in English we have 3 articles: a, an, and the, or the. So, a and an are indefinite articles. They show that something is not definite. But the is the definite article. It shows that something is definite. Other languages have more articles that show like gender and case and stuff. But just a minute, I was trying to reach my eraser on the other side of the room. But Hebrew actually only has 1 article. Hebrew only has the definite article. But in Hebrew, instead of being its own word, it is a prefix to the next word. And the prefix is ha. But that vowel underneath can actually change. But we're not getting into that yet. We will first just do what happens with the basic base form, ha. So, the consonant of the word we put it on, the first letter, will have a doggish forte in it now. So, like, let's say we have, let's have Hamelech, the king. Hamelech. I don't think the syllable stress would change. I will double check that in a minute though. Okay, I double checked. Yeah, it would keep the syllable stress on the first syllable. And of course, if it originally had syllable stress on the last syllable, it would keep it on that as well. And So any letter that can take a doggish forte will get a doggish forte when the definite article is in front of it. But for the ones that can't, there's something that happens. If a word starts with aleph, resh, or ghain, if it starts with any of those, then we will get ha as the definite article with a kamat and no doggish forte. For example, the Lord would be ha alone. Ha alone. See, it's now a kamat. And you might notice that, when the Lord is referring to God in Scripture, that's actually the divine name being replaced with Adonai, which, as you can hear, is not Ha-Adon, but we'll get to that later. So yeah, Ha-Adon. Okay, so the rest of the letters that cannot take a doggish forte are the rest of the gutturals, Chef and Hey, and that's it. That's all. That's all of them. But for the kind of conjugation I'm doing with the definite article here, the rule also applies to words that start with a mem, specifically with a vocal schwa, and words that start with a yod, specifically that start with a vocal schwa. I know that's kind of weird, but that's how it is. So, a good example would be like hevel with the definite article would become ha-hevel. So this kind gets a papach, but no doggish forte. So yeah. And, so yeah. Anyway, our last conjugation is if it begins with a he specifically with a kamat, a chef specifically with a kamat, or a ghain specifically with a kamat. So, what this does is what's a good, I got one. We have the word hamolav. Hamolav. I mean, it's mon. Why was I pronouncing it hamolav? I do not know. So we have the word hamon. And its definite article would be hey hamon. Hey hamon. Yeah. So if it starts with a hey, a chef or a ghain with a comma under them, the definite article will be hey. Oh, by the way, Hamon is crowd, so this is the crowd. We got the king, Ham Melech, the king, Ha'alon, the Lord, Ha'hamon, the crowd, and Ha'hevel, the smoke. Yeah, so that's all about the definite article. Okay, so here are some examples of some English conjunctions. You should know these if you've ever passed an English class, but we have, and, but, or, and nor. They're connective words. So, the letter waw with a schwa under it is a prefix that means and. But it can also mean but. And it can also mean also, or even, or it could even mean then. So yeah, it's got a lot of translations, but it's just a conjunction, the main conjunction. Hebrew also has some other conjunctions. This one, O, is translated or. And this next one, ki, doesn't really have an English equivalent, but it can either be that because for but surely truly indeed and except. It's kind of a hard one to wrap your head around. I'd recommend just like after you know enough words and grammar to understand some sentences, go like into the Tanakh and find examples and read them, and you will understand it. You will probably understand it better. So, O is pretty simple, it's or, and ki is pretty simple. Well, not to understand at first, but ki is simple for what I'm deeming simple right now, because we're going to talk about this thing. It's a prefix, like I said, and it does stuff just like the definite article. So, as I said, normally we have a schwa under it. This goes for like everything like Wayeled would be, and a child, or and boy. Yeah, because, Hebrew doesn't have an indefinite article, as I said, so you have to add one in your translations. However, if it is before a pe, a beth, or a mem, all of the bilabial sounds, then it will be u. Instead of w, it will be u. It will be it will be u. So, let's use the same example I used last time, king. Umelech is and a king. Okay. That's pretty simple. It also becomes u before any vocal schwa, because you cannot have a vocal schwa and then a schwa after it, so it becomes u. Like, an example would be like, let's just use an example I already used but pluralized. Uyalavim is and children or and boys. Before or a yod with a schwa under it, we actually get a chirik under the waw instead of a schwa, and the schwa under the yod gets replaced. Okay, so the ways the wow conjunction changes is if it is before a mem, a beth, or a pe, any of the bilabial sounds, or it is before a vocal schwa, it will change to oo. Yeah, you'll get oo. So, like, it would be, here's a funny example. Upe is and a mouth. Upe. And an example for before a vocal schwa would be like, let's say we have yalavim. Okay, but an example for a vocal schwa, the main thing my mind is going to is something in the Shema, actually. The second verse of the Shema. It will say a lot. It will say uvachol a lot, which is and in all. Uvachol, and in all. Uvachol, and in all. So, yeah. So the next thing that it can do is if it is before a yod with a vocal stronger, for example, let's have yalavim, children, and we want to say and children, we would have to make it, well, first we'd get our wow, but then we use a chirik and remove our schwa, so we get we lavim. Yeah, that is the rule for that. And the last thing is before a syllable that has stress, before a stressed syllable, it will become wet. For example, well, wemelech, wemelech, and a king. Yeah. So, that's about all for that, except a strange thing with both the definite article and the wow conjunction with the word Elohim. So the thing about this one is when it does something special with the definite article. This happens. We get Elohim. With Elohim. The spiritual beings is Elohim. And a very similar thing, we will get the same thing with the wow. We will get Elohim. So like and God or and spiritual beings, it would be Elohim. So that's like all there is for that. Some words, there's not really a rule for identifying them, but some rules, well, some letters, well, some words, geez, will kind of change their like first vowel in a definite form. So like if we have ha haaretz. Eretz gets a kamat. So we get haaretz. To my knowledge, all the ones that take it weirdly take a kamat. I will double check that though. Yes, it is true. All the words that do get a kamat as their first vowel instead, it is a kamat. And there isn't a way to identify them really. You just have to know. There's not many of them to my knowledge though. I can think of like 5. So, but one thing. If we have the definite article and the wow conjunction on a word together, it will be wow, then the definite article. So, like, let's go with and the bread. Wehelechem. We get the conjunction, we get the definite article, which has a circle because it's before a stressed syllable, and then the word lechem, which means bread. So, wehelechem is and the bread. So, there's actually a thing I forgot to mention last time. Some nouns do have an irregularity to their pluralization where one of their vowels changes. It's usually just like a papach to a gamat or something like that. But one I should have mentioned because we had the word is yom. Yom when pluralized becomes yamim. So, and this is the same for both yom, which is day, and yom, which is storm. It's not uncommon in conjugation to see a cholim or a cholim wow become a kamatz. So, yeah. Sorry for forgetting to mention that last time. That is my bad. So, into vocabulary. Okay, real quick, guys. There's something that I completely forgot to mention. A conjugation of the wow, of the wow conjunction that I completely forgot. If it is before a reduced vowel, the ones that have a schwa next to it, and then a normal one, like there's reduced sechol and reduced patach, it will have a patach below it. Yeah. Like, do I have a good example for that? Well, what about? And men, wa'anashim. Yeah. Okay, so here's our vocabulary. O means or. Ish means fire, and it's feminine. Goy means people or nation, and it's masculine. Also, if you ever see the word Gentile in the Bible that's translated from Goy, Hebrew does not have a word for Gentile. In fact, like ESV and ESB, they never use Gentile in the Old Testament. So, derech is road, path, journey, or way, and it is feminine. We have the definite article. Remember the dog is forte. So, we have hechal, which is masculine and means temple or palace. So, the temple is like the palace of God, then. So, har is feminine, and it means hill or mountain. Then we have the wow conjunction. and we got zahav, which is gold, it's masculine. Chelev, which is sword, it's feminine. Yeleb, which is boy or child or kid, and it's masculine. And we have the feminine version, Yalda, which is girl or child or kid. So Yam is C. It's got a strange plural. So first, the papach becomes a kamat, and then you put a dogish forte in the mem, making it yamim. Anyway, so kohen is priest, it's masculine. Ki is, it's got a lot of translations. Again, just start reading some verses with it. Once you get good enough to read verses, and you'll get it from context eventually. So 4. The 4 in Key's translations though isn't the 4 like this is for you. It's the 4 that this happened for that reason. Anyway, so kesef is money or silver. It's masculine. Mizbeach is altar. It's masculine. Makom is place or location. It's masculine. Mishpat is judgment, decision, law, ordinance, custom, or custom, it's masculine. And Na'um is announcement, utterance, or revelation, it's masculine. So Navi is prophet, it's masculine. And so it would be plural as Naviim because there's Aleph at the end. We get 2 E's. I'm not actually sure if there is a masculine noun that ends in a vowel that doesn't end in an Aleph. So you can forget what I said about masculine nouns removing their final vowel when pluralized, but if there is one that just ends in a vowel, like ends in like in a silent hey or something, like ends in eh, circle silent hey, then it might lose it to get the masculine ending, but I'm not sure anymore. I couldn't think of any examples then, I can't think of any examples now. So Sus is horse, and Susa is horse. Sus is masculine, Susa is feminine. Revev is servant or slave, it's masculine. Rolam is forever, ancient, everlasting, or eternal. That's gonna make more sense when we get into adjectives, but for now you can just know it as a ancient thing or an everlasting thing or an eternal thing. So Rain is feminine and it means I. Rain is never actually plural, it's only ever dual. Anyway, Rain, which is spelled and pronounced identically, is spring, like a spring of water. It's also feminine, but it will never end up being dualized, only ever pluralized. Of course, they can both appear in the singular. Kol is sound, voice, or noise. Ruach is spirit, wind, or breath. Oh, I forgot to write that kol is masculine. Ruach is feminine. Shar is prince or ruler, and Shara is princess or ruler. And that's where we get the name Sarah. So, Shamayim is always dual. It's sky or heaven, or skies or heavens, and it's masculine. And Sharar is gate. So yeah, that's the vocabulary. Sorry that my marker kind of started to die near the end. Okay, so shalom. God be with you. And once again, I will ask that if you could pretty please go out into the real world and do something nice for someone. That would be great. Please do that before you watch another YouTube video. Okay, bye.